Here we are back again. Tears of the Sun. Can I get the that? Can I get the Key and Kier's Kingdom? No, okay. Yeah, he ain't ready for that. There is a channel that we hope put all this on, and Tears of the Sun is also accompanied by Key and Kier's Kingdom Connection, where I talk with one of my closest partners down here in the South about all things concerning Christianity and even being a black man in it. So him and I dap up, but my son, he ain't ready for that. That's cool. We'll just give each other the head nod as we enter into Tears of the Sun, not Kiers, but Tears of the Sun. We do spell it Tiers, and it is a play on words. It is a place where we're vulnerable and just have this conversation about what it means to kind of level up in these different layers, these different platforms, these different levels of being a son. We are all sons to God, but as I progress from being a son to my biological father and being a father now I get a chance to help shape you as you are a son and eventually, not anytime soon, becoming a father. And so one of the things that I thought it would be cool to talk about today is there's this thing that we do on Sundays where we clear the air, so to speak, and give everyone in the family a chance to express any grievances that they have, but as well as, kind of celebrate one another. What started off as, us, we call it oughts, affirmations, appreciations, and admirations. But the latter three didn't come until later. We used to just do oughts, where I was like, okay, because I would tell them all the time, like, look, when I tell you something as a father that I need you to execute in the moment, there's no room for negotiations, talking back. I just need you to do it. I should not always have to explain myself, but I just need you to execute. However, I do know that especially as you become a teenager and your sister has become a teenager, that you have your concerns and your, hey, I think we can do it this way. And so we leave room for these oughts, again, we spelling words, AUGHTS, to make sure that their voices are heard and that, they have a say sometimes in input in how the house flows. And so we, oughts, just by the way, is scriptural because it tells us in the Bible that if you go to bring an offering to the altar, but you have an ought with your brother, put the offering down, go reconcile with your brother first, cleanse your heart, get your mind right before you go and give whatever you're giving to God. And so that's what I thought it was important for us to do. And so I just wanted to know, like, how do you think that's going? Do you still feel like it's beneficial?
I definitely do feel like it's beneficial. At first it was just odds, like you said, and it was just grievances, which is good, right? But also, I like that we've added the admirations and the appreciations and the affirmations because everybody needs their encouragements and things like that. Also, another thing I like about it is just how it's just the four of us having an honest conversation. I think that is the best part about it.
Yeah, you've said in the past too that it helps you to know that we want to hear your voice. We're not just trying to like shut you down, suppress you, right? And what it became for me, how it started for me, was that I was noticing that I was just being overly critical because I run a pretty tight house, don't I?
Yeah.
And so the way in which I want the house to be kept, and I don't know if y'all believe this or not, but I would tell them, like, when I come into a room, I'm not looking for stuff to be out of order, but it jumps out at me. And I can tell, like, okay, somebody didn't put that back, somebody didn't clean this, somebody didn't do that, there's a spot on the floor, that stuff. And I got that from my father, actually. My father used to come into a room like, you don't see that speck on the carpet? Like, for real? You really seeing this right now? And so I've seen that I've inherited that part of my dad. It's just an orderly sense. And it's a meticulousness that has its place, but it can be overbearing at times. And so when I wanted to start improving our communication such that everything out of my mouth wasn't always, hey, you didn't do this. Can you do this? Can you do that? I began to say, you know what? I want to hold my peace until Sunday. And sometimes by the time Sunday would come, I'd be like, you know what? I don't even got to bring it up anymore. Right. Mm-hmm. And if I still need to address it, I would, but at least it would allow us to have an open line of communication, because who wants to talk to somebody that's always coming down on them? And that's even how we're trying to, my guy Kieran and I, we're trying to address people's minds so that they know since Jesus Christ has come and done what he did to restore the relationship with our Heavenly Father, he took all the blame, all the accusation, all the judgment, all the punishment for us. So God is not on the throne like you didn't do X, Y, and Z. He's looking to have an open communication with us. And so everything that I do, have I not said this to you? Everything that I do and how I interact with you and your sister, I'm like, I want you to see the bigger picture. Like if you can correspond with me as a father whom you can see, I need to set the right precedent so you know how to correspond with the father that you cannot see. And sometimes that, a lot of times that comes up when I'm talking about be obedient. Don't do any more or less than what I'm saying, because when you do that with God, it can be problematic. And I know y'all be like, man, you're just trying to get me to do whatever you want though. And I'm like, nah, I benefit from that. But the bigger picture is when I'm no longer around, not even that I've passed away, but when you move out and you begin to cultivate your own relationship with God, the Father, I want you to remember like, okay, the lessons that I learned from my dad on this level, now work with my dad on this level. Right. So I knew I needed to change. With those odds, like just this past Sunday, you definitely are taking advantage of it because you had a beef with me that you had a chance to address, right? What was that?
So I was talking to him about how I was, getting more involved in drumline, and like maybe not even 2 minutes later, he was telling me about how I might have to quit, and it was two separate topics, but it was just bad timing for him, and that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, and I feel like it was more than 2 minutes. But I completely, in that moment, I heard my son and I was like, you know what, my fault. I apologize. I did not mean to step on, what you were showing me. Because it was cool that she was communicating with me and showing me something. But I was compartmentalizing things and trying to figure out your senior year. So we'll leave it at that. But I got to admit, like, you came very respectfully. We always set the stage like, hey, look, we're going to respect one another. We're not going to come off, you're not going to put nothing extra on your voice. I'm going to try to raise my voice, even though when I get passionate about things, my volume tends to go up, but it's not shouting though, right? And so even though you were respectful about it, I felt the ancestors, if you will, and I don't really believe in ancestors having influence over us. Only Holy Spirit, Jesus and God are spirits that have access to us and the spirit realm, but I digress. I felt like the ancestor was like, you gonna let him say that? You gonna let him talk at you like that? Right? And sometimes I feel in how I'm trying to foster a relationship with you all is different. It's a little different than how my parents did. And I know there are some things that you've been able to say to me that I could not have said to my parents. And sometimes I kind of feel like, man, am I letting you like punk me though? Like, I think my lip would have been on the back of my head had I said this to my mom. And I think I would have been knocked out for a couple of hours with my dad. And I'm just joking. They never did that type of stuff to me. But I'm trusting this process that it's allowing you to grow and develop better than I did because I'm giving you this space to be able to talk and have conversation with us. I've taken advantage of it. I've been able to tell y'all times when I'm vulnerable and have needed you all. I recently told y'all, like, I need y'all. I'm trying to give you your space. But you got to know that your father, your husband needs y'all. I need to be able to communicate with you. And so I feel like what we fostered is something pretty special because it really does give our family a chance to kind of air stuff out. By the time Sunday comes around and, I've written my odds out, whatever they happen to be, sometimes I don't even feel like addressing them anymore. And so that's another thing. Like, what's that? Is it that serious? Whatever I wanted to say. And so, I really hope that this is a tradition that you remember and even maybe carry it out with your own family one day. Do you think that's something that you would want to kind of play forward as you think about your family?
Yeah, definitely.
What would you do? Would you do anything different?
I don't know. I might have them more often instead of saving everything for Sunday.
Let stuff kind of just like pile up.
Yeah.
But I've told y'all, I'm like, look, I do have an open door policy. The thing to remember is in the moment that I tell you something, especially if it's an instruction, in the moment, there's not a lot of room for I shouldn't have to explain myself, whatever. But I've told y'all, like I have an open door policy. If after you've executed what I've asked you to execute, if you want to come back later and say, hey, can we talk about that? You don't have to wait till Sunday. You do remember I've said that, right?
Yeah, and I've done that before, but I mean like formal meetings.
I got you. Okay. And even with the admirations, appreciations, and affirmations, we definitely throughout the week have tried to get better at, hey man, I appreciate that you did X, Y, Z, or that you didn't do this, or whatever. But it's still good. One on one is good, but I also think it's good to do it in front of the family so that the family can see like, yo, we appreciate one another, right? We want to make sure to be the type of family where we know that our number one fans are the four of us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also, the people who love you the most also won't let you just be out here wilding out and not come with some correction because it should be done in love, right?
Right.
I don't think I've ever. Do you think any of us have ever like abused it or taken advantage of it?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And so I really do think that it's been a good addition to how we operate as a family. And so I just wanted to take some time to kind of just see if that is something that you appreciate. I know you do, but it also helps. Just so you know, it helps when me as your father can hear from you, from your sister, and me as a husband hear from my wife. Like, yeah, what you did was good. What you've established is good, right? So I appreciate you affirming me that what we created, what we're fostering, is something that you appreciate.
Yeah.
How many times I say appreciate just now? A couple times. That's good. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else on your mind, bro?
No.
All right. Well, that's it. Tears of the Sun. I'm Reggie. This is
Josiah.
We'll catch y'all next time.